Hey everybody, it's Dave the Web Guy. In this video, I am going to show you how to change the default Facebook newsfeed to one of your own lists. You might want to do this for a number of different reasons. Maybe the default newsfeed is too noisy, or perhaps you just want to focus on a select group of friends each time you log into Facebook. Now let me start out by pointing out that this is actually a very simple procedure, and it's something that is so useful I would think a lot of people would be trying to do it or would certainly want to do it. But if I go to Google and were to type in something like change my default Facebook news feed, the results I get tend to deal more with how to change the ordering of the list and various other attributes. Nothing how to change the actual landing list that you encounter when you first log into Facebook. So to better illustrate exactly what we're going to be doing in this video, I'm going to actually pop onto my currently open Facebook session. Now on doing so, you see that I land where just about everybody else lands. They land at their default newsfeed. So all of this information here is noise and other information that at the moment I don't care to be bothered by or to engage. I wish I could somehow land directly onto one of my more relevant lists that are comprised of family members and friends, or maybe even nothing at all. So that is what I'm going to change by virtue of this demonstration, and hopefully you'll be able to do the same. Now, in order for this trick to work, the first thing that has to be in place is the ability for you to store bookmarks in your browser's toolbar. This is accomplished a number of different ways depending on which browser you have. I'm using Firefox, and once you see how I do it in Firefox, it should be relatively easy and intuitive to port over as a process to your own browser. So the first thing I want to do is to click View, then click Toolbars, and then in this case, I just want to make sure that Bookmarks toolbar is checked. If it weren't checked, I would, of course, check it. And in doing so, that would reveal this about, I don't know, ½ inch of currently empty space in my browser, which is reserved for the mounting of bookmarks or bookmarklets. In many cases, a browser will already have bookmarklets stored here by default. Especially if you haven't opened up this area before, you'll usually see commercial links to such things as the old internet powerhouse resources like Yahoo or other destinations that you are probably not interested in. You can simply delete those by usually right-clicking on the icon itself and then clicking delete. In my case, I've cleaned it out ahead of time, so I have nothing here. But there will be in a moment, and you will see. But to put our focus back into the task at hand, the first thing we need to do is actually create a list if we're not going to use one of our currently existing lists. You could actually use one of your currently existing lists for this operation, but for purposes of the demonstration, let's actually create a new list. To do that, I'm going to slide my icon, my pointer over the Friends area to where the More hyperlink appears, and I'm going to click that. Once that screen loads, you're going to find a control to create a new list right up here, and I'm going to click that. I'm going to call it Default Browser, as I've been doing a number of times in preparing for this tutorial, which is why it auto-filled out like it does. And then I'm going to click Create. Now my default list is actually created. It's here. I could pop in here at any time in any Facebook session just by virtue of the normal process. The goal, however, is to make sure that this default list is the first page that loads once I go into Facebook in the first place. We're going to make this my default newsfeed. And this really couldn't be any easier. In order to create the bookmark to lead directly to this page, simply make sure you're focused on the list, as we currently are. In fact, up here is the URL for it. And when you're ready, take your mouse, hover over the beginning of the URL as it appears, left click and hold, and then drag the URL into the bookmarklet toolbar area, and then release. And now you have a shortcut leading to this very specific page in your Facebook session. So now, while you're surfing the web, and let's say, for example, I'm on CNN.com, reading horrible news about terrorists killing other people. At any time, you can click your default list icon, and voila, there you have it. You are now in your default list immediately. You don't have to spend time reviewing or navigating away from the default news feed provided by Facebook. Now, in my list, of course, I have no friends added to it, so it's completely empty. You might actually like that if you're here to do business of some sort, for example, distributing content. But let's say, for sake of argument, that you've got a select group of friends that you would still like to see activity on by default. I'm going to pick the first 5, I believe, by default for my list. No offense to my friends and their priority. And in relatively short order, they are now added to this list. If I were to click the default list again, just to refresh it, you could see now that I am presented with a list of just their activities and nobody else's.